We're at 5 o'clock.
We're at 5
Robin.
o'clock.
Mike's right on time.
Perfect, perfect. All right, let's call this to order, 5 o'clock. Is there any input, public input? No?
No email public input either.
All right, administrative matters. Did everybody look at the park board minutes?
Yep, that looked great to me.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. All right, confirmation of vouchers. Everybody get a good look at that. Everybody looked at it.
Agreed. Motion to approve the voucher.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we got the March board report.
Yes, I'm gonna highlight a few things on that for you. Centennial Park parking, registration for residents is underway. We are over 1,200 plates already in the system. That started up on March 1st. Fees will begin out there on April 1st. There are electronic message board signs at both entrances. That one in there March 13th, informing people that it's coming, just to re-notify everybody again. And non-residents can purchase a annual pass beginning April 1st. We do that right at the meter in the park. The town council updated the towing ordinance, which allowed for you as a park board to consider the towing contract that's on today's agenda as well. So that's something we'll be discussing in a few minutes here. Centennial Park golf buildings, we're progressing out there. Some irrigation lines need to be moved. That's another item that's on our agenda for today. We'll have also a further update along with Mac from CSK later on the agenda. The fiber optic project is just about complete. Most of the Midwestern Electric work has been done. Impact's now making the final connections. There's a couple little parts that we're waiting on that are supposed to arrive tomorrow or the next community park, right? For community park, yes. So that's the fiber connection, the direct fiber connection to the pool, social center, and Triple Play Cafe, and then the remote buildings for the other press box and washrooms will be still via antenna, but much stronger connection, and Impact has guaranteed me that this will work phenomenally here as soon as this is all said and done and connected out there. Hopefully, if we're lucky, end of this week, but definitely by the end of the month. So we're ready for all the baseball, softball season out there soon. The pool concession patio expansion started this week. Gary Up is out there doing work. They were actually already even pouring some concrete in the last day or two, so that's been good for us. They jumped on it. They firmly believe they will be substantially complete by our May 5th deadline, which is well before the pool season open on Memorial Day weekend. So that's a good thing for us. The cricket pitch ribbon cutting, just so you guys have it on your calendars, if you're available to be out there Saturday, April 15th at 10 a.m., we're going to do that. So if you're able to make it, great. If you can let me know, I'll send an email out again as we get closer to it to remind you, but wanted to give you a heads up. It'll be that day unless it's kind of cats and dogs raining. We'll be out there. They also are going to kind of follow up with a little bit of a demonstration after an actual ribbon cutting. So, and I think they're trying to make it a bigger event too, just kind of make it more of a bigger deal for that cultural group that will be the main users out there. So,
Can I interrupt again?
yes,
I just skipped by Tot Swings. And Frank Hammond, did someone request Tot Swings?
that's been a complaint we've gotten a couple of times in the last few years that we don't have tot swings in that neighborhood. So we were putting those in for them. Yes.
Where did you put it?
So typically.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't.
No, I mean, I remember when we sort of did this partnership and then we went to the, whatever, the GI Joe kind of aspect. Can those be repurposed someplace else? Because
They're not getting used.
Not getting.
they're not,
They're not
I mean,
gonna
I
use it.
walk,
I mean,
I
that's-
walk the track almost every day and no one's, I mean, I
I
don't even
know
know
where
where
they're
to
at.
start, but.
Yeah. I mean, I
I don't think people know about it too, because you're talking about the workout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I,
yeah.
I just don't think it,
Have you tried them?
When we first implemented out there and did them. and
I
they're
actually
very
remember.
solid and
it's a workout.
it's a workout.
It's
But
fitness.
I would suggest like doing something with some of the local fitness, I mean, like groups to promote.
so you're
to
saying
actually.
move it out to Centennial? I'm just saying, no one used.
No, I'm not
I
saying
think we
that's
can promote it a little
intentional. I think
more. I mean,
promoting it or adding the classes, like we do with adding the classes with.
Oh, do like a
community
boot camp?
groups. Yes.
Okay.
My wife laughs at me every time I voted for that thing. She goes, look, no one ever uses those things. I go, "I know."
But they were requested, that was part of the, I mean, you remember that was part.
It
of
was
the-
a new wave of
Like,
doing things,
that's
yeah.
what everyone wanted.
And now it's pickleball.
My question is specifically though, on the top swings, we just did this install, how many years ago? Three?
No,
Three.
it was before, it was before COVID.
You know,
It was right before COVID, 2019.
Right, so we need to review the other park equipment and verify that there's another need back in place before we just put another top swing right there. No, I think, not that they don't need it, and I'm not dismissing
He
that.
doesn't like my park.
But I'm saying that there are other parks that have older equipment that could possibly be first in line, because that gets my point.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that we are addressing all parks, not specifically.
No, and this is one that is definitely in response to the public and to, to be responsive whenever we have the opportunity. There is money available for that and from Frank Hammond and Park Improvements that was still available. So that's why we move forward with trying to be able to do that out there. I don't disagree with you that there are a lot of other programs that we need to look at for our, and we'll have it. I have my, our repair and replacement schedule. We'll share that with you during the study session. And we'll talk a little bit more. about
Those
that.
swings weren't a huge expense. It's not
No, it was,
putting in
it's gonna cost more to install them than it will,
Right.
than it did to purchase. them.
Right.
It was less than, I think it was 2,500,
It was like
3,000,
3,000.
Yeah.
I was just looking at
yeah.
it,
So
and 8,000.
I could pay for that.
the,
Well, I mean, Eats doesn't have one.
They don't have a what?
Top swings.
They don't?
I can think of a lot of.
But is that
That's
the
not a
school
public park.
itself?
But that's-
But it's
Oh,
for a
I'm
park.
sorry.
But-
I meant, Sunnyside.
Well, they have.
Sunnyside has top swing.
Uh-huh.
Do they?
Yep.
You're just outgrown though.
I mean,
All right.
it's something that's there and again, it's a small improvement to have it. It's kind of, throwing a bone a little bit to that particular neighborhood to where they don't have to cross a busier street to get to one. Because there are some that are relatively close. It's Stewart community, but depending upon where you live in that neighborhood, it's difficult to get to it if you have little ones. And that was a complaint.
Sunnyside. Sunnyside is like that. You live
That's
on the
true
other
too,
side
yeah,
of Bowman
depending
Avenue.
on where you're at.
And there is none in and the reason I thought of Eats is because there is no park within the busy street, Holman, Ridge Road, Calumet, and the river. There is no park.
Yeah.
So that was why I thought of that specifically.
We're definitely park deficient there. However, what I'm gonna bring up is that the tot swings will actually be in the park part of Frank Hammond Park. This is not going into the
Yeah,
school.
understood. I'm not saying that there's not a need. I just want to make sure that we address the
Mhm.
older equipment.
There were two parks
Yeah.
at various times.
Right.
One
I
of
remember.
them, one of them now has a water tank and is not a park, and the other one's going to have a parking, can be a parking lot for the train station.
Right.
So, yeah, that's sad.
That leaves no parks in that neighborhood.
And we don't have any.
Well, that was
land or
never,
anything.
Manor Avenue was never a park.
The park deficiency.
It was
on the
bought by
north
the
end
park
of town is
department
definitely
to
something
be a
we can
park.
talk about. It's-
No, there were only two, there was a couple of lots down at the end that was all.
Alright.
No, when I was on
Move
the park board when we did it.
Now
That
we're
was,
talking,
that was all done with money through the park
We can-
department. When
Do
we
that
took
during
out all
our-
the two, the duplexes, it was all park department.
But there was never equipment there, though. I mean, it was
There
just.
was
an
never
open
any
space. It was a
equipment.
green space. So-
It's just grass.
So let's continue.
So on the recreation side of things, plans, we're working on the summer recreation guide already, hopefully finalizing that up here soon to get that off the printer. And March is a busy time for us. That's when we typically are doing lots of interviews, try to do most of our hiring for all the summer between our intern, our pool, referees, camp counselors, all the site supervisors, all those kinds of things. So hopefully here by the end of March, we'll have a majority of our summer seasonal staff hired. Parents definitely eager for summer camp. Those details are coming out on Thursday this week, right? They're going to be up on Thursday. We have a special page on a Facebook group page that's out there with that deadline. We're getting calls like crazy, and it's definitely a very positively responded activity for us. The spring soccer registration completed. We have 461 kids signed up for that. That'll be starting here in a few weeks. All the teams and schedules and that stuff's been getting picked up here this week. Last week we had a pretty cool day, had a Leprechaun flashlight fun with 31 participants, so that was pretty good as a follow-up to that younger age group. That's a one-day special event based out at the Social Center and Community Park. Moving forward, we had out at Community Park, there were bathroom doors on the east press box we had to replace. They were bent pretty bad from being kicked in, so we replaced the swing on them so they'll actually swing out. And so if someone was try to kick them in, the door frame itself will stop that from being pushed in. So we're hopefully that over time, when doors are called for to be replaced on facilities like that, we believe and want to have them all in that same type of with that same type of swing pattern, so we can avoid from people trying to kick them in, bust into a bathroom. Kevin was able to complete the annual electric generator report that the U.S. Energy Information Administration requires. There was a water hydrant right outside the maintenance building at Fisher Street that they had to replace, and there's been challenges ever since then with our water inside our building now. So Kevin's been replacing valves and flushing those lines, trying to get that squared away, and hopefully that'll be resolved here very soon. The seasonal jobs for the maintenance side of things have been posted on Indeed, so we're looking for folks that way if you know of anyone looking both at Centennial and through Kevin's crews. Out at the golf course, the season has started, not great weather so far. Purdue Northwest and Munster High School both been out there with their tryouts for their upcoming seasons. Course has been open on the warmer days, not every day. They did roll the greens last week and change the cups out there. And my final one, if you didn't get a chance to see it, last night at Monon Trailhead, had a truck decide to take off the grid. Crashed into the corner of our trellis, took out a good sized tree and about 3 different benches out there. So we'll have some repair work to be working on up there.
Is it expensive?
Oh, it's going to be expensive, yes. We
Was
will
that person
send it.
sober?
Just one.
The fire chief said he had one.
Of course, they always do.
Isn't that public works property though?
The interesting thing, Ken, on the
Maybe about
GIS
it.
map for Lake County right now, it shows it as Nixie property. So, yeah, that's something that needs to be clarified. So I'm gonna talk to Dustin and see what, and Jill, who's kind of been the town's point of contact with Nixie for the South Shore.
Any questions, guys? All right, items up for discussion and action. First is the total service provider agreement.
So this is an agreement for, with Ridge Towing, who is our sole respondent to the proposals, the request for proposals that we sent out last fall. This agreement was prepared by, for the board's consideration by town attorney Nicole Bennett, because she prepared all the documents that the town council recently did to edit the ordinance that was necessary. So after reviewing of the document from the towing contractor, we submitted some red line changes in there with their requested changes. Myself and I had Dustin look this over. From our perspective, we don't think that it changes this document substantially to force us to seek another towing contractor. I think the biggest part of this is we really don't see a lot of cars getting towed. I think the biggest aspect, I mean, if it's more than one hand out there, you know, vehicles that actually get towed, but ultimately this is the teeth behind enforcement of being able to tow out there. Or just to remind you, when the town police department has 4 different towing contractors that we originally talked to and wanted them to get involved with towing for us at the park. None of them wanted to do this kind of towing, which they all kind of refer to as repo towing. This was a contractor who is willing to do it, is a smaller business, but we believe that if needed and called upon, they would be able to fulfill this. So we've submitted a red line version here of the changes that they requested from that contractor, and staff is recommending the approval of this particular agreement. So we have something in place when the towing season.
So how would we contact them where if
Ask the-
we see the
so when-
meters up and,
Yeah, so the ASTA parking would contact them. They get a signal when a car comes in that has an outstanding violation. And that's actually after 4 outstanding violations. That
Okay.
we'd be calling the tow truck company to say, this license plate vehicle is in the lot right now, go take it.
okay,
So the ASTA would call the towing company direct for them to respond to the site.
okay, so it's not
Did they
people
provide you
pedaling.
with that policy? Like, what is, you said 4, I didn't see that in here. I was curious what the number of houses.
It's in our towing, it's in our original contract with ASTA. I don't have it here with me. But it was after, it would actually be the 5th violation. So after 4, so the first one happens, they get sent a parking violation notice. If they don't pay that and they go in again, they get another parking violation notice. 3, 4, on the 5th time that they enter is when the tow call would go in.
And I guess what I should have been more specific is, it's in the agreement that we provide to the person, right? The
It's-
Contract?
resident, whoever is going in there, we have that policy somewhere.
That policy is,
Like,
it doesn't say after so many times, no. The signage that's out there says that you can receive, if you do not pay, there's a violation of, which includes the violation notice or the potential for towing. I have a copy of it on the website.
just want to know if it's on a ticket or if it's not, it's posted somewhere, violation could be done.
So it's a ticket that
So, if it- yeah,
they mail to them.
Yes,
basically.
it's something.
Okay.
anything that has.
It says
something
if you
that
don't
says
pay.
That you could be towed.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So I believe they're mailed to you, right?
They are mailed, yes, they're mailed the violation notice. So this is the sign that's all over the park out there. And I apologize, you can't even read. I'm gonna try and zoom in here as best as I can and get down to failure to pay in advance or expired time will result in a parking notice and or booting and or towing. AD accessible vehicles must pay. So that's the notice that's posted all over the park.
Okay, that's
Covers
posted in this, in the.
The only part that I will say is we covered up the and or booting part, because that was something that Nicole wanted us to cover up. Okay. I don't know, if Neil was allowed booting, I think. But- So that's
Towing or
the hope is that the parking violation notices get taken care of it and we never have to tow. I mean, realistically, that's the expectation. But the enforcement is set to begin April 1st. It's what we have it set for, so they'll be sending out violation notices, I'm sure, right? So this just gives us ultimately a contractor, an agreement with the contractor. I'm sure there'll be learning and hiccups with this, but at least we have some willing towing contractor to be able to do this work if needed.
and this contract's just from year to year.
It would be year to year unless we decide to send them an update for in writing to continue.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That is the Centennial Park irrigation relocation.
As part of the new golf course buildings there, Centennial Park Golf is obviously a large scale irrigation system out there due to the pipe size and the pressure that the water that comes through the system out there to irrigate the entire park and the entire golf course. To prepare for the construction of the new golf pro shop and cart storage building, we saw proposals for rerouting some irrigation lines in the areas of those 2 new buildings. 2 contractors, Holland Beat Construction and Liable Irrigation, submitted proposals that could get the work done before we turn the system on for this year. Right now it's empty, it's been winterized. We want to get the work done before we fill it with water and start using the system. And those 2 proposals are here. Since these costs are higher than what I have the authorization as a department head to authorized. We're bringing it to you for consideration. This project would be funded from previous park fund issue balances, and we're recommending the award of, for this work to Holland Beat Construction at $25,411.18. Asking you to authorize me to sign the necessary agreement if you're so inclined.
Such a big difference in the
The presentation of the bid, I know.
bid amounts, like, is there something wrong?
Well, and there was 3 or 4 that were unable to do it, and actually, believe it or not, as we got those quotes in, the first one is, the higher one was the first one we got, and they were sticker shock, and that's why we talked to the other ones and made sure, and thankfully, we got the lower one there. These are ones that, Dan Ogdell is our golf course superintendent, did talk to. I mean, this is something that through their contacts in the golf industry, these were the firms that they really attacked rather than the local, your local irrigation who we may use at our own homes, residencies. So
I would motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, last step.
all right,
Continue.
Mac is here from CSK Architects, also to answer the questions, but I gave you a handout earlier. I dropped on your counter for you, just some updates. So we're working with CSK, Indigo, our landfill contractors that deal with the landfill for us, and park staff about getting the details together. We do have to go to the planning commission with our project, so that's something that we started. We've already gone to the town's site plan review committee and had some input from them in regards to that. That was on March 2nd. Obviously, we just talked about the irrigation contractor. The official visit to the planning commission meeting will be at their April 11th meeting. We'll be going there, and basically they just need to ensure that what we're planning is matching the requirements for the zone of civic zoning facility. So I don't believe there will be any delays that way. From the initial site plan review committee's comments, there were everything seemed to be pretty good from that perspective. And like I said, Max here, I can pull up some updated pictures for you, or concept pictures as well.
See what you got.
And I do want to show you this anticipated project schedule there, which we're looking to mail out the certified letters for that planning commission meeting here by the end of this month. April 11th is the planning commission meeting to review. We'll advertise for bids for the actual construction sometime in April. Hopefully bids due in early May. And then the consideration, if we can get it done and get them here where we could potentially award at the regular meeting on May 16th. If that gets delayed, I really don't want to wait till a June park board meeting, so I may ask to consider a special one maybe later in May, but we'll see how those dates fall. Because we want to get advantage, get this out on the street as soon as we can. I've already talked to a couple of contractors locally, told them it's coming, so to be looking for it. But the hope would be by June, we're starting construction, and then of course, we'll be opening the facility by next summer. So with that, I'll bring up some of the pictures here. One of the, probably the biggest notice you're going to see in these changes in the pictures is one of the requirements, believe it or not, in our civic zoning is our windows have to be either square or vertical. We had horizontal windows. So you see the revision here with basically each one of these was maybe one window horizontally. Why, I don't know, but that's what is in the rules.
Say, whose window is that?
So that's zoning ordinances, so as you go through it, so that's.
Someone was bored of
Well,
it.
that- They ruined everything.
So we did have to update, that's probably the biggest update that I think you're gonna visually see in these pictures.
That's the biggest change, honestly.
Yeah, I think everything else is kind of pretty consistently.
A little bit update to the
same.
fence. That's about it.
Still the same layout there. We changed the layout of the direction of the carts.
So we're still bidding it as an option on those other things?
At least for the shelter,
Yeah.
we're gonna be having that as the alternative. At least the overhang for the driving range, that's a yes or no question for that. It's either we do have that or we don't.
Right.
There's not really a
That's
way
fine.
alternative Because they'll be more expensive. to
And the
have
reason for that, Dan,
is
is underneath these legs, you gotta put those footers in.
Yeah,
So if we put the footers in and then decide not to do that overhang, that drastically changes.
so you have, these are 100% plans, right? Pending,
Well-
pending plan commission review.
Comments?
Yes.
Yeah, they're still finishing up with a few things.
So is there any way to get some of the stone from the park over into the building? Because it's very, very red. I'm just seeing so much red. Just a little bit of bringing the rest of the park over to that architecturally.
We can add some layers into the brick layers to
You like
maybe
more red?
split that. up.
No, no. It's very red.
Yeah.
Well, if you ask some
looks
people,
like
they
the
would like to
firehouse,
make some,
yeah.
like the bike trail at Hammond
Doesn't
Red.
affect the
too.
firehouse.
Really?
Yeah.
I like red. Red's a favorite color.
I think there's-
But, yeah, it's-
Well, and that's kind of become our signature color
It needs a little-
on our
It's a lot.
newer buildings. I mean, really, everything that's out of community and everything that's been in Centennial, it has had that deep maroonish red out there.
Yeah, but you
Part
can
of
kind of like do some of the same stone that's in the park, like at the lower, you know how they kind of cut the
Like the
stone.
Well, community, they have the stone and then the red.
on
Yeah,
the bottom.
Centennial, same thing. They don't- they-
Yeah. the stone and then the red.
Yeah.
Just something I just noticed, that's all.
Or beige sided.
A wish list.
Mix them up.
Stone.
We could put some top swings.
There
out
is,
there.
Do you know what? I
And the
think
exercise
under the
equipment.
cover would be great, like right on.
Well,
the-
it's brown.
well, and there is some wood that's on here
Brown.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah, the
around.
brown and the
Maybe you're
red.
Thinking of the brown. The brown looks reddish.
Some of this wood, yeah, this
Maybe
This-
your eyes are much.
wood looks a little.
Maybe, it could be, you never know.
I think they'll- they'll do a close-up shot of that. Thought I had at least-
But yeah, that's something, I mean, we can look at that and see the,
Design options for that, yeah.
on your Mac, on your design pages, I don't know if there's much here, or there's still the same layouts that we have, I think you're
Relatively,
getting
yeah.
ready, this is a ceiling plan
Yeah,
layout that they're
Getting
doing,
further
getting
to the
ready.
Materials, I mean,
Um,
roughly the same.
Is there any reason why the roof, why there's so much roof? You know, is there a certain slope for, considering the weight of snow and things of that sort? that We can
Yeah,
have one
an
that's
A-frame's
lower,
always better that way.
because it makes the building twice as big.
Well, and that's I think, to me, the answer to that, Ken, is the design, that it's to match the A-frame of what's existing out there. I mean, because that's what we have on the current
The
clubhouse.
building we're gonna tear down.
And, yes, yes. Well, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know
Is a
either.
better answer. I shouldn't say yes to that. Maybe is probably the answer. But it also matches kind of
That's
the
what I
roof
said
pitch
last
on the
time.
little
I don't know if you
building.
heard that, but I said the same thing.
Last night, what was that?
Last time we talked about.
You know, that
I-
is a steep roof line.
But it also matches the existing A-frame that's on this building, which is existing out there, and this is definitely
Correct.
Oh,
staying.
I think that one's
So,
like 60.
That's the one that's out there now.
That's the one that's up at the top of the hill now.
And
Yeah.
they're, kind of improve it.
The newer buildings are a little bit shallower, they're 12-12, that one's like a 16-12, so
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
little bit different, but won't see much.
I mean, they're,
It's kind of,
those are definitely considerations, but I think what we go back to is this park has been set with this as, a recognizable symbol for Munster. And I think it's something that, we've kind of wanted to copy and replicate to as we consider these new facilities.
Agreed.
Thank you. Oh, is there something that we have?
Nothing, no, that was just more of an update for you on this, so unless you have any other.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
and, yeah, dealing with us.
And Tom can never make it. I would just say, if we have the 100% plans, I would send them out to any local contractor now, because I don't think you're gonna get much change in plan commission. And the longer the contractors have eyes on this, the faster they can turn these things around, because the lead time on who knows some of this stuff.
Well, and they like to give, I know typically in talking to Tom before, 3 to 4 weeks, they like it to be out for bid for 3 or 4 weeks, so they can
Right.
price these things out, so I agree, yeah.
So if you have them, just send them Rimmer, Hassie,
Yeah. Some of the
Gary,
the regular players that are out there.
whoever
yeah.
Superior.
this spring, so it's ramping up.
How to work home. It's cheaper.
Ah.
Not me.
We want it done correctly
I
also.
can't put together Legos.
All right, up next is adjournment.
I'll agree with that.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. April 18th, 5 o'clock. Each other.
Are you guys sticking around for the capital